I just lost my job as a freelance writer to AI. I honestly never thought it would get to this, although I saw it coming, but we are finally here, and honestly, I don't know how I feel about it. It still feels unreal because for the past 8 years, I've been working as a freelance writer, and I thought that I have built this career out of writing that can never be brought down. So to just wake up one day and it's over, honestly, I'm still in shock. When I came into this industry around 2016, 2017, there were talks about AI taking over, but we thought this is something that will take ages. I remember having these discussions with other writers, and we would tell ourselves, or we will discuss with each other and just encourage each other that before AI gets to a point where it's doing creative jobs such as writing and maybe graphic design, it will take ages for it to perfect this. So when it happened, I don't know how I feel about it. When AI started to gain some traction towards the end of 2022, I was actually pretty excited. Just the idea of having a tool to help me speed up the process of writing, creating outlines, it was exciting to me. But for the first few months when ChatGPT was now introduced to the public, I could already tell my future as a freelance writer was a bit shaky. The orders started to go down, and the new clients that were coming, they wanted me to work at very crazy rates. I remember one client specifically told me that since we already have AI right now and we have so many writers, it's okay for me to do $5 for 1,000 words. My excitement quickly started to wear off because I realized that this tool that I was so excited about was actually here to replace me. Luckily for me, at that time, I had built a very good relationship with my clients, and I had a few clients that gave me consistent work. So even though I didn't have a lot of projects that were coming in, I still had enough to keep me going and also, to keep me afloat. But as time went by, since 2022, I've lost a client at least every single month, and this has continued until yesterday. So despite having happy clients for years, I was still replaced by AI. In the beginning, I would assume that maybe my clients just stopped blogging or maybe they moved on to other things. But every time I lost a really good client, I would go on their website just to see what's happening. Every single time, I really did, because if you are a freelancer, sometimes you get so attached to your clients, especially the good ones. So naturally, I would be curious. In different occasions, I went to different clients' websites to see what they're up to. For one particular client, I think this is my favorite by far. She has been with me since I started my freelance writing career. And when I went to her website, normally she would publish like one article per week. But to my surprise, when I went to her website, I found that she was publishing an article every single day. Now, she had already let me go, but she let me go very softly. It was hard to realize because she kind of, gave me an order every week, and then that changed to 2 weeks, that changed to a month, that changed to one in a few months. So my letting go wasn't instant, and it wasn't easy to realize. It's only that I loved her and I loved working with her. So after a couple of months, when I realized that you are not going back to the normal schedule, I was curious, and so I went to her website. For you to publish every single day, you either have a very huge team of writers, or the other obvious reason is using AI. So when I went to her site, I could tell that she was using AI. When this happened, I kind of started to prepare myself mentally for this particular client because we were very close. Again, I mentioned that we worked together for years, so I had some courage to actually go ahead and approach her and ask her what was going on. And she was very sweet, and she kind of told me that she didn't know how to break the news to me, and so she just had to leave softly. But she had decided to start using AI because it was cost effective and also it was faster. In short, what she was telling me is that she found an easier way to get to her goals way faster without spending a lot of money. From a business standpoint, I did understand where she was coming from, because the goal as a business person is always to cut down the cost while maximizing your profit, and that is what she was doing. If I'm being honest, I don't blame her or any other of my clients, because if I were in their position, I would probably do the same. The last client I had, I decided to let them go because now it was getting a little bit overwhelming for me, and the writing that I used to do for passion, now it was become draining and stressful, and it is not something that I was looking forward to anymore. The last client I worked with, I had to let them go myself, and I will explain why. So basically, right now we have two types of clients. There are those who have embraced AI, and there are those ones that don't want anything to do with AI because they are not really sure about where Google really places AI generated content. So the problem with the clients who don't want anything to do with AI generated content is that these clients are using AI to determine whether or not you've used AI. Now the problem is that these AI detecting tools are very flawed. So with the AI in the picture, it's very hard to generate content that is 100% human written content. I know that is a bit confusing, because when you've written the content from scratch, ideally it should be 100% human generated, but that is not the case in most cases. Sometimes you'd write an article and you'd be very sure that you've written it from scratch, but once you upload it on an AI detecting tool, it will come back with some AI generated content. For me, that would sometimes appear to be 20%, and now this client will tell you to use this AI detecting tool to correct that 20% until it's 100% human written. So I'm explaining this because I want you to understand why I had to let go of my last client, although I really loved working with them. So this process of using AI to correct whatever AI has deemed AI was very frustrating for me. I really hated this process, and it was also not making sense financially because my rates never changed. I was being paid the exact same rates that I used to get paid to just write and deliver, but now there was an added step to it, and still clients would expect you to actually charge less. So I would spend double the time or sometimes triple the time of what I used to spend writing one article, and this process was just taking a toll on my mental health, and that's why it got too overwhelming to the point where I just decided to let this good client of mine go. Luckily for me, in addition to writing, I had also picked up social media management, so I feel like I have something to fall back onto. Right now I have a safety net, and I will be able to pivot eventually to other things, but right now I'm still feeling some type of way because writing is something that I really loved to do, and it's also something that I would call my dream job. To give you some context, before I became a freelance writer, I was actually working as a nanny in Gulf. This was very draining for me. First of all, because I had to stay away from my family for years, because I had to sign a 2-year contract before leaving my country. So I wanted to settle back in my country. And so while I was still in Gulf, I had some free time in my hand and free Wi-Fi. I was just researching what I would like to do once I come back to my country. That is when I discovered that you could work online, and I just started to do a lot of research, and I finally settled on writing. I have always loved writing. I loved writing in high school, and so when I discovered that I could actually write and get paid for it, honestly, I was over the moon. I was so happy. I was so excited about coming back home. So for me, this is not just losing a job. This is actually losing my dream job, a job that gave me so much freedom, a job that allowed me to come back to my country and settle here. Also, I wanted to come back and have a baby, and and freelance writing allowed me to stay at home, be with my child, and just enjoy motherhood to the fullest. This is not a pretty story because I know eventually I'll be able to pivot to something else, and possibilities of actually using AI to make even more money online are endless. I'm just not so sure where or which route I should take, because at this point I feel like AI is coming for every single job that is, done on the internet, and for some reason I feel like eventually we will just go back to those boring manual tasks that we've worked so hard to stay away from. So that's all in today's video. Please let me know in the comment section how AI has affected your industry, and also if you found any value from this video, kindly give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that.